All right, guys, we've got a big update on the July Nintendo Direct. Nash Weedle was off by just a bit. He did say that there is a Nintendo Direct coming in July, but he got the week wrong. But now we have Nate the Hate coming in on his new podcast talking about what he's heard about the big July Nintendo Direct. So we've got an update on that. We're going to go over everything that you need to know about that rumor and everything that we could see there. And we'll have a more formal predictions video once we get a confirmation from Nintendo. Now, Nate the Hate, he is pretty reliable. For those who don't know, he actually got the timing of the first announcement of the Nintendo Switch 2 right in terms of them showing the system. So Nate the Hate, he gets a lot of stuff right all throughout the Switch 1 era. He's pretty accurate, so you can trust what he says here. If he has a podcast talking about it, it's probably going to be happening because he's heard about it. So let's get into some of the fine details when it comes to this July Nintendo Direct. Now, according to Nate the Hate on the podcast, which I will have linked down below in the description, make sure you guys go check it out. He states that the Nintendo Direct is going to be after Donkey Kong Bonanza releases, which makes sense. Get that huge game out there. People are really anticipating it. It's up there on the sales charts pretty much in every single region on Amazon. eShop sales charts, it's dominating. People are looking forward to Donkey Kong Bonanza. So get that game out. Make sure everyone knows what that game is doing. And then you have your big Nintendo Direct. Now, there's one more thing to go over too before we get into what we could see and some of the stuff. There is a Pokemon Presents on July 22nd. So I'm guessing that the Nintendo Direct will not be before or right after that. I don't think they're going to have a back-to-back Pokemon Presents 2 Nintendo Direct. That is next week overall. So I'm guessing the Nintendo Direct at least 2 days after that or the following week. So it could be at the end of July, maybe on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday of July. So we'll see how that works out. Now let's go ahead and jump into the games, because the games are obviously the most important thing when it comes to the Nintendo Direct. So we got to get release dates, and this is the main reason why I still felt that there would be a Nintendo Direct in July, when some people were saying, no, I don't think it's going to happen. It's going to be later, even though Nintendo always has Directs at this time. I mean, people still fall for the same thing over and over when these rumors come up, thinking that it's not going to be in the summer or July or June or whatever. Every single year, people fall for it. People come to my stream and tell me, no, they don't think it's going to happen. And then it does happen. But anyway, the point is that we still need release dates for these games that have already been announced and that are coming out here in the second half. There's not many months left in the year. We're already shooting through July here. So Nintendo has games like Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, Splatoon Raiders, Kirby Air Riders, Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. Those are all slated and set for 2025. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment is set for winter when it comes to it, so that could slip into early next year, but I'm guessing they want to have that out this year in 2025, or they wouldn't have shown it the way that they did show it, and also have a creator's voice on the game as well. So let's talk about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, because that does need a release date, and here's why I think that they've held out on the release date despite the game being shown multiple times. I think they actually want to pair that with some of the previous games coming out before, potentially in a shadow drop like they did with Metroid Prime Remastered on the Nintendo Switch 1 a couple of years ago. So I can see them doing Metroid Prime 2 and 3 HD, but I think that the focus for Metroid Prime 4 at this upcoming Nintendo Direct is definitely going to be tying together a little bit more of the story, showing off some other features that you have in the game, also detailing exactly what you can expect when it comes to Samus's latest adventure and when you're going to be able to get that. Maybe there's a special edition that they have for us, maybe there's something with some Joy-Cons or something like that, they pair it with that. So I think that there's going to be a bit more promotion and a bit more, I would say, things surrounding this game than what's been revealed so far. With Metroid Dread, they launched it with the Nintendo Switch OLED back in 2021, and that was a huge success, having that same color scheme with Samus wearing the white and then the white OLED Joy-Cons and everything. So that made complete sense. I can expect them to do something when it comes to Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, even if it's like new amiibo or something like that. They're going to do something when it comes to promotional with this game, and expect to see that at this upcoming Nintendo Direct, in addition to tying up some more gameplay, story, release date, all of that. So this has been a long time coming, since 2017 when it was first announced, scrapped originally from the Bandai Namco version, rebuilt with Retro Studios on the Nintendo Switch 2 and of course Nintendo Switch 1 as well. So I think the game is going to be awesome, and I'm expecting kind of more of an August or September type of release date for this game. All right, next up, Splatoon Raiders. We've got to get more information on this game when it comes to release date. Some people think that maybe it's going to be a next year game. I don't think so. I don't think Nintendo would actually show off this game and have it on a Nintendo Today announcement if it was going to be a next year title. I don't think there was any point. If you're going to have it till next year, you can just wait till the fall direct if the game is going to be coming out in 2026. So I think Splatoon Raiders, because of the type of game that it is, because of how polished it looked, obviously they're just reusing what they've used with Splatoon 3. Now that game is running in 4K 60 on the Nintendo Switch 2, they have a clean, great looking game overall with a very unique and interesting art style. So there's not really anything that you have to do super crazy with that game, especially if it's going to be a spin-off, and they've talked about it being a spin-off. That's what the game is. It's just, okay, we're ready for the game. Go ahead and give us a release date for that and tell us more about the game. We have to understand exactly what's the hook, what's the gameplay loop, what are you going to be doing, how does it tie in exactly to everything when it comes to the Splatoon universe, what's the gameplay options, is there going to be co-op and other things like that. So I think that is going to be the most interesting thing, and this is the first spin-off game. Splatoon is incredibly popular for those who don't know. 10 million units plus sold with Splatoon 2, and Splatoon 3 selling another 10 million units plus as well. So these games are incredibly popular. One of the big pillars that Nintendo does have when it comes to first party IP, and of course huge in the multiplayer scene, as Nintendo only has one real shooter that they develop when it comes to multiplayer. So having that is really important for Nintendo overall. So I think that Splatoon Raiders is going to be a very big game, especially in Japan. I can see people just going nuts about this game and it doing really well, of course, if it delivers all the goods when it comes to gameplay. So expect the release date, expect a brand new trailer showing off more of what the game is and the gameplay loop, and expect it to be really good and coming out sometime this year. Now, I don't know when it's going to be, because there's a lot of games that are still trying to be packed into the rest of 2025, but I'm expecting it to be a 2025 game. Could be wrong, but once again, we will see. Next up, Kirby Air Riders. Now, Masahiro Sakurai recently talked about this game, and he discussed how Kirby Air Riders, he's pouring his heart into it. That's a character that he created back in the day. He loves Kirby and everything, so I would expect Kirby Air Riders to be significantly better than what people are going to give it credit for. They just see it as this weird spin-off GameCube game that almost nobody played back in the day, but this is a Masahiro Sakurai developed game, so expect it to have those surprises that it had when you first booted up Kid Icarus Uprising, and there was all sorts of cool and interesting gameplay mechanics and ideas, UIs, fonts, sound effects. You can tell the creator of Smash Brothers made that game with Kid Icarus Uprising. I expect that same level of polish and what Sakurai does to be for Kirby Air Riders. So he's passionate about this. I think it's going to be a great game. I think they're going to have some great single player content in there. I think the city trial, or what they do with that when it comes to the vehicles and the overall gameplay scope, is going to be expanded beyond what people even think. So they didn't really show much, so that's why people don't really have much to go off of, and most people didn't play Kirby Air Riders, so they're just like, okay, well, we'll see how it turns out. But man, I'm telling you, when Sakurai gets into the zone on something outside of Super Smash Brothers, it's incredible. Go back, play Kid Icarus Uprising, look at all the different content that you have there compared to the Kid Icarus games that came out before it. It's like night and day, and that's why I'm excited. Don't expect this to be just a copy and paste or typical type of, okay, here's Kirby Air Riders, now here it is on the Nintendo Switch 2. It's going to be something that's much bigger, much better, and definitely different. So I'm looking forward to Kirby Air Riders on the Switch 2. Next up, let's talk about Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. This is another game that Koei Tecmo and Nintendo have been promoting. They say winter, so it could slip to early next year, as winter does go to next year as well. But I'm expecting the game to come out this year and take advantage of some of those holiday Christmas shopping and everything. Now, I want to see what the structure of this game is going to be more like. Is it going to be like Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition when it comes to some of the extra content and other stuff that you're going to do? Or is it going to be more like Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity? And the only reason why I'm questioning that, and I know it's a direct follow-up to Age of Calamity, but the reason why I'm talking about that is because they talked about how there's going to be a bunch of other stuff to talk about or other things to do in the game, like the game world and talking to the characters and stuff. And Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity did have that a little bit in the single player campaign, but not really. Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition has so much extra content and so much things that they packed into the game. If you go back and play that on the Nintendo Switch 2, there's a lot of things that I actually like above what they did structure-wise, content-wise, over Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. So I'm hoping that they take the best of both. They take the really awesome story and format and kind of what they did with Age of Calamity and pair that with the content and extra things that Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition has, like with the adventure maps and all of that. If they give us both of that into one game, this will be the ultimate Hyrule Warriors game. So I'm looking forward to what they have there. And of course, hopefully the story will be a little bit better for everybody out there, because some people did not like what happened with Age of Calamity. I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't played it yet, but some people did not like the whole scenario and what happened there. So hopefully this really ties in and they really make sure that this is actually what happened and this is what's going on, which it seems like they're doing based off of what is said so far, but we have to wait for the actual release of the game. Okay, let's get into some first-party games that we could see here as well. Fire Emblem 4 Remake. I feel like a fraud anytime that I mention this game because I've been talking about this game is a thing for so long. If we don't see it here at this point, guys, I don't know what to tell you. Like, it's got to show up sometime in 2025. It's got to show up this year. It's got to show up at this event, or it's got to show up at the fall event, or I'm just not sure what's happening here with this game. Now, it still could come after that. We saw what happened with Xenoblade Chronicles X, where I knew about that game for a while, but Nintendo just sat on it for so long. They just sat on that game. So that could be what's happening here with Fire Emblem 4 Remake. They could just be sitting on this game for quite some time. So I'm hoping that we finally get something for Fire Emblem 4 Remake and they show this game off, because it's been a long time coming and I need my Fire Emblem fix. Metroid Prime 2 and 3 HD, I think that we could see that as well. Tomodachi Life, Rhythm Heaven, these are previously announced Nintendo Switch 1 games that could be getting Nintendo Switch 2 editions of those games as well. So first party wise, there's probably going to be more than this, or there's going to be other stuff that we don't know about, but these are the things that we kind of already know or that's been rumored that we can kind of talk about at this point. Next up, you also have third-party games. Borderlands 4, we need a release date for that. That is not day and date with Xbox and PlayStation and PC. Final Fantasy 7 Remake Intergrade, we need a release date for that. We know that it's coming out at the end of 2025, so let's get a release date for that. Hades 2, still got to talk about a release date for that game, and potentially a brand new Monster Hunter, whereas we don't have an official announcement for this, but you know, based off of how Monster Hunter Rise did, they want to get something on the Nintendo Switch 2, so I'm not saying that there's going to be a Monster Hunter game at this event. I'm just saying that it's a possibility that Monster Hunter could be announced in some way, shape, or form, and that could be one of the showcase games. So we'll see what type of Monster Hunter game, if it's going to be Monster Hunter Wilds, or if it's going to be a brand new or different type of game, if they have anything there for us from Capcom. Maybe even Onimusha too. That game could be coming as well. Maybe an announcement for a port of that game, because that game's still for next year. So yeah, Onimusha, maybe we get that. All right, let's get into the One More Thing game. So the One More Thing game is usually at the end, and they say, we've got one more thing. You guys know how it is. And it's usually a big game that people are going to get excited about. Now, we have had some information come out that maybe that game could be Animal Crossing, a tease for the game for 2026. And that would absolutely be huge, because Animal Crossing sold 45 million units plus on the Nintendo Switch 1. So that could happen. There could be a brand new Mario game that they tease overall as well, even though the Odyssey team just got done working on Donkey Kong Bonanza, but I'm guessing that there's some other people that are also obviously working on Mario, but maybe that's a game that they announced at the fall direct, the One More Thing with the anniversary and everything coming up, so maybe not on that one. Monolith Soft's new game has been the One More Thing headliner for multiple times at different Nintendo Directs, even dating all the way back to the Wii U Direct in 2013, where Xenoblade Chronicles X was the One More Thing at that Direct. So that's definitely a possibility as well, and if they did, imagine how it's going to look. Goodness gracious. So we'll see what Monolith Soft has up their sleeves, or if there's going to be anything from them. And then, of course, Zelda. We have Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment, but maybe they get the first tease of a big Zelda game, but I'm guessing a little bit too early for that one as well. So I'm kind of honing it down to maybe Monolith Soft's game or Animal Crossing, but you know what? It could be something completely different knowing Nintendo, and they could shock us with something. So don't take that as it's a confirmation or anything, guys. It could still be something else that we never even saw coming, a brand new IP or just something just different overall. So what do you guys think about this when it comes to this Nintendo Direct? Looking forward to it happening in July. If it does happen, which I think it will, based off of what Nate the Hate has to say, let me know in the comment section below. All right, guys, that wraps it up for this video here. Thank you so much for watching. I do appreciate it. Please make sure you hit that like button, subscribe if you're someone new, click that notification bell, and check out my other Nintendo Switch 2 RPG content and more right here on screen. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace.